They flew me to Hawaii for Christmas because they said they missed me. By the third day, they were calling me unstable, sliding legal papers across a resort table, and whispering about how easy it would be to get control of my accounts if I had an episode. I would have been alone on that island, drugged and discredited, if my neighbor hadn't packed one small camera and one hard truth in her suitcase. They were never there for me. They were there for what I could sign. I am 71 years old. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 adult children, and a widow's silence that still settles into my house every evening like dust. For 5 years, I told myself my family's distance was life being busy. Careers, school drop-offs, mortgage pressure, the world moving fast. Then my son called in early December, voice sweet as syrup. "Dad, we're doing Christmas right this year," Mark said. "Hawaii, all of us, together. We want memories." I should have noticed how he said memories the same way a man says investment. I should have noticed how he never asked if I wanted to go, only whether I could make the booking easier. But the truth is, when you are old enough to watch your own friends disappear one by one, you learn to grab anything that resembles warmth. A holiday, a plane ticket, a grandson tugging your sleeve in a photo. So I said yes. I paid for it, of course. I didn't even pretend I wouldn't. Mark had that talent. He could make his needs sound like a family plan. He was 46 now, tall and well-dressed, with a confident smile he saved for salesmen and waiters. He worked in business development, which seemed to mean he was always 2 weeks away from something big and always one favor away from disaster. My daughter, Jenna, was 42, recently divorced. Restless in a way that made her sharp. When she was young, she used to bring me dandelions and insist they were flowers. Now she brought me problems and insisted they were temporary. And then there were the grandchildren. Caleb, 13, quiet and observant. Mia, 9, still soft around the edges. And baby Noah, only 4, who called me Grandpa Ray as if it was a title that mattered. I wanted to earn that title again. My neighbor Evelyn Park didn't say much when she saw me hauling luggage into my entryway. Evelyn lived next door, a widow like me, and she had the steady posture of someone who spent a lifetime in crowded places learning how to stay calm. She was 66, silver hair worn in a neat twist, eyes that missed nothing. Retired nurse, she told people. But she carried herself like someone who knew exactly how the world broke people and what it looked like when someone tried to hide the cracks. She watched my son's rental SUV pull into my driveway, watched Mark hop out without looking at me, already scrolling his phone as if the world would collapse if he held still for 10 seconds. She leaned over my fence and said quietly, "You look happy, Ray. I'm glad." I laughed because it came out like a cough. "I'm trying to be." Her gaze moved to the SUV, to Mark's wife, Brittany, stepping out in oversized sunglasses, already irritated by the sunlight as if the universe had personally wronged her. To Jenna in a tight travel outfit, speaking too loudly, performing excitement. Evelyn's eyes came back to me. "Do you have your own medication packed?" she asked. "Just vitamins," I said, "and my blood pressure pills." "Keep them on you," she said. "Not in their bags. On you." The way she said it made me pause. "I'm not going into the jungle," I said with a thin smile. Evelyn didn't smile back. "No, you're going somewhere worse. You're going where everyone thinks you're obligated to keep paying because you're family." That hit harder than it should have. She opened her front door and disappeared inside. A minute later, she came back holding a small box wrapped in plain paper. "Merry Christmas," she said. "Early." I tried to protest. I did not like taking gifts. Gifts made me feel indebted. Evelyn pushed it into my hands like she had done it 100 times. Inside was a phone charger. Ordinary. Then I saw a tiny lens no bigger than a pinhead on the edge. "It's a travel charger camera," she said, still calm. "Records when it's plugged in. Audio, too. Saves to a card." My throat went dry. "Evelyn, I don't take it, she said. For your own peace. If nothing happens, you delete it and laugh at me when you get back. If something happens, you'll wish you had it. I stood there holding that little box like it weighed 100 pounds. I'm not paranoid, I said. Evelyn's eyes didn't move. Neither am I. Mark leaned out of the SUV window. Dad, we need to go. We've got boarding in 2 hours. He sounded impatient, like I was an errand. Evelyn's hand squeezed my forearm once, gentle, almost affectionate. Have fun, she said, and watch who pours your drinks. The first part of the trip was exactly what I told myself it would be. Airports smell the same everywhere. Coffee, disinfectant, anxiety. On the plane, Brittany complained about her seat. Jenna complained about the humidity already, as if Hawaii had personally scheduled it to irritate her. Mark sat across the aisle from me and acted as if my presence was a minor inconvenience he had to manage. Caleb sat by the window, headphones on, eyes half closed. Mia pressed her face to the glass and squealed when we broke through the clouds. Noah fell asleep with his mouth open, his little hand curled around a toy shark. That toy shark should have been my first warning, because I bought it in the airport shop after Brittany said, "Do you mind? Noah's bored." Just grab something. No, please. No, thanks. Just the assumption that my wallet was a spare limb on their body. When we landed in Honolulu, the air wrapped around us like warm fabric. Palm trees, salt, flowers, that bright, almost painful sun that makes everything look too sharp to be real. Mark insisted on a luxury resort in Waikiki, tall glass towers reflecting the ocean like mirrors. The lobby had polished stone floors and a scent of citrus and money. I expected something simple, something relaxed. Instead, it was performance. Brittany posted videos the moment we walked in. Jenna posed with a drink she hadn't even tasted. Mark argued with the front desk over an upgrade he thought he deserved. When the concierge asked for a card for incidentals, Mark didn't look at me. He just angled his body slightly, like he was steering the moment in my direction. "Dad's got it," he said casually. I handed over my card because the line behind us was growing and I could feel eyes on my back. I hated that feeling. I hated being seen as a man who didn't control his own family. The concierge smiled at me with professional warmth. I told myself it was fine. I told myself it was what grandfathers did. That evening, Mark announced we were having dinner at a place on the beach with fire dancers and a private table. "It's expensive," he said, then grinned. "But it's Christmas." I watched him say expensive and then look at me as if he had just made a joke we both understood. At dinner, the ocean was black velvet beyond the torches. The dancers moved like flames. Noah clapped. Mia's eyes went wide. Caleb watched quietly, like he didn't trust Joy to stay. Mark ordered top-shelf liquor. Brittany ordered a bottle of champagne for the vibe. Jenna ordered seafood towers like she had never seen food before. I ordered iced tea. Brittany laughed at that. "You're in Hawaii, Ray," she said. "Live a little." Ray. Not Dad. Not Grandpa. Just Ray. The way she said my name when she wanted to remind me I was not in charge of anything. Mark leaned in and clinked his glass against mine. "To family," he said. I looked at my grandchildren and let myself feel it for a moment. Let myself believe it. Then the check came. Mark didn't even reach for it. He just pushed it toward my side of the table. "Dad, you sure?" he asked, loud enough for the waiter to hear. "It's a lot." It was $890 for dinner, for memories. I paid, hand steady, face calm. Inside, something shifted. A small, sharp click like a lock turning. Because I realized Mark had just done something deliberate. He made it a performance. He made it visible. He wanted the waiter to see me pay. He wanted Brittany to see me pay. He wanted Jenna to see me pay. He wanted the whole resort to see who funded this family. Back in my room, I plugged in Evelyn's charger camera out of habit near the lamp. It felt foolish, like I was humoring an old woman who watched too many crime shows. Then, at midnight, I heard voices in the hallway. Not loud, not drunk, controlled. Mark's voice, Jenna's voice, Brittany's voice, lower, sharper. I stood at my door, not opening it, just listening. "We need him to loosen up," Brittany said. "He's too aware." "He's old," Jenna replied. "He'll get tired. He always gets tired after dinner." Mark's voice came next, tight. "Tomorrow we do the boat day. Keep him in the sun. Keep him drinking. He'll be grateful. He'll be relaxed. He'll sign." Jenna snorted. "He'll sign because he hates conflict." "Exactly," Mark said. "We just need him in the right mood." My skin went cold despite the warm air. Sign what? I didn't sleep much. The next morning, Mark announced we were taking a private catamaran out to snorkel. "It's for the kids," he said, already walking away. "They'll remember this forever." The catamaran was beautiful. White sails, polished wood, a crew that smiled like they'd been trained to smile through anything. I sat near the rail and watched the shoreline shrink. The water turned a clear blue I didn't know existed. Mia squealed when fish swarmed around her legs. Noah shrieked in delighted fear when a wave splashed him. Mark handed me a drink in a plastic cup. Mai Tai, pineapple, something sweet that hid whatever else he wanted hidden. "Come on, Dad," he said softly. "It's Christmas week, just one." I thought of Evelyn's eyes. "Watch who pours your drinks." I looked at Mark. My son, the boy I taught to ride a bike, the young man I paid through college. I smiled and took the cup. Then I took the smallest sip, wetting my lips, and held the rest. Mark watched me drink. His eyes flicked down to the cup like he was checking a measurement. Brittany leaned back on a cushioned bench, sunglasses on, smile faint. Jenna sat close, too close, her hand on my shoulder like she was reassuring me. "You look tired, Dad," she said. "This sun is intense." "I'm fine," I said. Mark's hand landed on my knee. Affectionate, possessive. "After this," he said, "we should talk about something. Not heavy, just planning for your future." My stomach tightened. The boat rocked. The crew played music. The kids laughed. And my family watched me as if they were waiting for a chemical reaction. I excused myself and went to the small bathroom on board. I locked the door, steadying my hands on the sink. In the mirror, I looked the same. Old, sunburnt, normal. I forced my finger down my throat. It was not dramatic. It was not heroic. It was ugly and bitter and humiliating. But the contents of my stomach hit the bowl, and I felt a slight relief, like I had just pulled something poisonous out of myself. I rinsed my mouth, splashed water on my face, walked back out. Mark's eyes narrowed when he saw me. "You okay?" he asked too quickly. "Just the motion," I said. "I'm old, remember?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That afternoon, back at the resort, Mark asked me to meet him in a lounge off the lobby. Jenna and Brittany came too, as if this was a family meeting and not an ambush. They sat me down at a low table. A server offered water. Mark ordered coffee for himself, like he needed to be alert for what came next. Mark pulled out a folder. He slid it across the table like he was offering a menu. "Dad," he said, warm, rehearsed. "We've been talking. You're doing well. You've built a lot, and you deserve to rest. But it's important to protect what you've built." Jenna nodded sympathetically. Brittany's smile was fixed, expectant. Mark tapped the folder. "This is just paperwork, power of attorney, medical directives. It's normal. It's responsible." My throat felt tight. "Why are we talking about this in Hawaii?" "Because we're all here," Jenna said, as if that was the only reason. "Because we love you. Because we want things to be easy if you ever get sick. Brittany leaned in. It also helps avoid taxes, she added. And probate. It's such a mess. You don't want the government in your business. Mark opened the folder. I saw my name printed on the top page. I saw words that didn't belong near a vacation. Durable power of attorney. Trust amendment. Asset transfer schedule. My heart thudded once, hard. This isn't just medical, I said. Mark's smile sharpened. Dad, don't get defensive. I looked at Jenna. Did you know about this? Her eyes slid away. Mark's just planning. I looked at Brittany. And you. She shrugged, like my discomfort was inconvenient. It's reality, Ray. You're not getting younger. There it was again, Ray. Not a father, not a grandfather, a resource. Mark pushed a pen toward me. Sign, he said, still soft. Not everything. Just the first page so we can start the process. We can go over details later. I'll handle it. A stranger walked up behind Mark then, a man in a crisp shirt carrying a tablet. He smiled like he belonged at this table. Mr. Alden? He asked. I'm Blake from Pacific Legacy Services. Mark said you'd be ready. I stared at my son. You brought someone. Mark's voice stayed calm. It's easier this way. He's just a notary. Dad, come on. Don't make this into a thing. Don't make this into a thing. That sentence has been used on me for years. Don't make this into a thing when they forgot my birthday. Don't make this into a thing when Mark borrowed money and didn't repay it. Don't make this into a thing when Brittany spoke to me like I was a slow employee. My hands went cold. The notary smiled again. It's common, he said lightly. Just a few signatures. I opened my mouth to say no. Then I saw Caleb across the lounge pretending to look at a fountain but watching us. I saw Mia holding Noah's hand near a display of ornaments, their faces bright and unaware. I thought of being the reason Christmas got tense. And I hated myself for it, so I did what I always did. I delayed. I need to read it, I said. Mark's smile twitched. Dad, it's standard. Then let me read it. Brittany exhaled sharply. This is going to take all day. I pulled the folder closer and began to scan. The language was thick, but I wasn't illiterate. I ran a small business for 40 years. I negotiated contracts when Mark still needed help tying shoes. I saw the line that made my vision sharpen. Agent may access and transfer principal's financial accounts. I saw another. Authority includes sale of real property. My home, my workshop, the small rental cottage I kept as retirement income. I closed the folder. No, I said quietly. Mark's face changed fast. The warmth dropped away. The pressure came out. Dad, he said, voice low. Don't be stubborn. I said no. Jenna leaned in. Dad, you're embarrassing us. That word landed like a slap. Brittany's voice went hard. You always do this. You act like we're attacking you when we're trying to help. Mark leaned closer. I could smell coffee on his breath. You're tired, he said. You're emotional. It's the sun, the travel. You don't even know what you're saying. My pulse spiked. I know exactly what I'm saying. Mark's mouth tightened. He looked at Blake, the notary, and made a small gesture like shooing a fly. Blake stepped back, still smiling, but his eyes went cautious. Mark looked at me again. We'll do it later, he said, tone suddenly controlled. When you're calmer. Calmer. As if I had raised my voice. As if I had thrown something. As if refusing to hand over your life was a tantrum. We went back to the rooms. Brittany stomped ahead. Jenna didn't look at me. Mark walked beside me, hand on my back like he was guiding a confused patient. That night, in my room, I plugged in Evelyn's camera again. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my suitcase. I had come to Hawaii for Christmas. I had come to be held by my family, to be included. Instead, I had been measured and found useful. On Christmas Eve, Mark announced we were doing a special sunset dinner. Private, he said. Just the family. A reset. He spoke as if I had caused the problem. We walked along a beach path lined with torches. The ocean was dark and loud. Somewhere in the distance, fireworks snapped for other people's celebrations. Mark led us to a secluded section of sand where a table had been set. Candles, a cooler, a bottle of expensive liquor that seemed too heavy to belong in a casual moment. Brittany smiled too brightly. Jenna acted like she was forgiving me. The children ran around chasing waves. Mark poured drinks. I watched his hands. He poured Brittany's first, then Jenna's, then his, then mine. He held my cup a fraction longer than the others. His thumb moved in a small, practiced motion at the rim, as if he had just adjusted something. My blood turned to ice. Evelyn's charger camera was in my pocket, not plugged in, not recording. I had been foolish enough to rely on later. I took the cup, kept my face neutral. "Dad," Mark said, gentler now, "I don't want us fighting on Christmas." I stared at him. "Then don't ask me to sign away my life." He sighed as if I was unreasonable. Jenna sat close, voice soft. "Dad, you're alone at home. We worry." Brittany added, "What if you fall? What if you forget to pay bills? What if you get confused?" Mark's tone went almost tender. "We're your family. Let us help." The phrasing was so perfect it made my skin crawl. I lifted the cup. I pretended to drink. I tipped it slightly, wetting my lips, then held it near my knee so the candlelight hit it. Brittany watched me over her glass. Mark's eyes stayed fixed on my face like he was waiting for my pupils to change. Minutes passed. The ocean kept moving. The children laughed. Then Mark stood. "Let's take a walk," he said. "Dad and I. Just us." He held out his hand like this was a tender father-son moment. The sand was cool beneath my feet. The torches flickered. We walked away from the table, away from the children, away from the voices. Mark guided me toward a darker stretch of beach where the resort lights thinned. "Dad," he said quietly, "I need you to stop making this hard." I stared at him. "Hard?" "Yes," he snapped, then caught himself. "This whole thing, you're being paranoid." I stopped walking. Mark stopped too, then stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You know what's going to happen if you keep refusing," he said. My heart hammered. "Tell me." Mark's face was lit by torchlight now, and for a moment I didn't see my son. I saw a stranger wearing his skin. "You'll end up in some facility," he said softly, "because you're not safe alone, because you're not stable, because you're slipping." My throat went dry. "Are you threatening me?" Mark's smile returned, small and cold. "No, I'm being realistic." A wave crashed. Wind shifted. I smelled alcohol and salt. I realized with sudden clarity that this walk was not for conversation. It was for isolation. I tried to turn back. Mark's hand gripped my arm, tight. "Don't," he said. And then something happened in my body that terrified me more than his words. My legs felt heavy. My head swam. The world tilted slightly as if the horizon had moved. The small sip I took earlier on the boat. The lip-wet sip now. It hadn't been enough to knock me out, but it had been enough to blur me. Mark's eyes sharpened with satisfaction. "There it is," he murmured. I yanked my arm free and stumbled, catching myself. The sand shifted under me like it was alive. "Dad," Mark said loudly now, his voice rising, carrying back toward the table. "What are you doing? Stop!" It wasn't for me. It was for an audience. I heard Brittany's voice behind us, alarmed. "Ray?" I heard Jenna gasp. "Dad?" I turned and saw them hurrying toward us, the children trailing behind. Mark stepped forward. raising his hands like he was calming a wild animal. "Dad, calm down," he said, loud, clear. "You're scaring the kids." My mouth opened. My tongue felt thick. "I'm fine," I tried to say. It came out slurred. Panic shot through me. Mark looked back at Brittany and Jenna, and his face arranged into concern. "He's not okay," Mark said. "He's doing it again." Again. As if there had been other episodes. As if there was history. Brittany pulled out her phone. Jenna's eyes went wide, then hard, as if she was remembering a script. Mark stepped closer to me again, voice low so only I could hear. "If you fight, we call security," he whispered. "If you calm down, we help you. Your choice." My vision tunneled. My heart pounded so hard it shook my ribs. I realized they didn't need me unconscious. They needed me discredited. They needed a video of old Grandpa Ray having an episode on a beach. They needed witnesses. They needed fear in the children's eyes. They needed justification. And then, papers. Hands grabbed my shoulders. Jenna's hands. Gentle but controlling. "Dad," she said, voice trembling with fake emotion. "You're confused. Sit down." I tried to step away. Mark raised his voice again. "Dad, stop! You're acting irrational." A figure came jogging down the path. Resort security. 2 men in uniforms, moving with purpose, already primed. Brittany spoke fast. "He's having a breakdown. He's been stressed. He won't listen." Mark looked at them, eyes wet on command. "Please. He needs help. He's not himself." I wanted to scream, but I couldn't shape the words fast enough. One of the security men approached me cautiously, hands open. "Sir, are you okay?" I tried to speak. My voice cracked and slid. The other security man glanced at Mark. "Do you want medical called?" "Yes," Mark said instantly. "Yes, please." I realized then how far this had gone. They had planned this. They had a notary ready. They had a company called Pacific Legacy Services ready. They had security ready. And I was standing on a dark beach in Hawaii, drugged by my own family, watching my life get rewritten in real time. I reached into my pocket with clumsy fingers and grabbed my phone, my contacts blurred. I hit the first name I could see clearly. Evelyn. It rang once, twice. Then her voice came through, calm and immediate. "Ray?" My breath hitched. "Evelyn? Help! What's happening?" she said, no question mark, a statement. "Beach," I forced out. They gave me something." Her voice sharpened. "Do not drink anything else. Do not sign anything. Put me on speaker." I fumbled, hit speaker. Evelyn's voice cut through the night, clear as a bell. "This is Evelyn Park, retired nurse. I need you to listen very carefully. If this man is showing sudden confusion after consuming a drink his family prepared, you treat it as possible intoxication. You call EMS and request toxicology. You do not allow anyone to pressure him into medical or legal decisions." Mark's face changed. "What is this?" he snapped, stepping closer. Evelyn continued undeterred. "Sir, if you are his son, you will step back. You will not touch him. You will not frame this as dementia without medical confirmation. Involuntary holds require evaluation, not family storytelling." One of the security men looked unsettled now. "Ma'am, who are you again?" "Retired ICU nurse," Evelyn replied. "And if you drag him into a psychiatric label without checking for drugging, you will be complicit in elder abuse. Get EMS, now!" Mark lunged toward my phone. I turned away, clutching it, stumbling. The sand shifted. My knees buckled. And then something else happened. A resort employee, a young woman carrying towels, came jogging up. Her eyes were wide. "Excuse me," she said quickly, voice shaking. I saw him," she pointed at Mark. "I saw him pour something. He did something to the cup." Silence hit like a wave. Brittany froze. Jenna's face drained. Mark snapped. "No, that's ridiculous." The young woman swallowed hard. "I was taking towels from the cabana. I saw it. He dropped something in. He thought no one was watching." My chest tightened. The world still swam, but for the first time that night, something in me steadied. Evelyn's voice came through the phone again, colder now. "Ray, stay upright. Focus on your breath. Help is coming." The security men moved differently now. One stepped between Mark and me. The other spoke into his radio, urgent. "Medical now. Possible intoxication. And hold the family back." Mark's mask cracked. "This is insane," he snapped. "He's confused. He's—" "Back up," the security man said firmly. Brittany's voice rose, panicked. "We're his family." "And he's the guest," the security man replied. EMS arrived fast. A golf cart with equipment, 2 paramedics, calm faces, professional hands. They asked my name. They shone a light in my eyes. They asked what I drank. Mark answered too quickly. "He's been drinking all day." One paramedic looked at him and said, "Sir, he can answer." I tried. My words were thick but present. "They poured it," I said. "They wanted me to sign papers." The paramedic's eyes narrowed slightly, not surprised, just registering. They guided me toward the cart. Jenna reached out, hand trembling. "Dad, don't." I looked at her then, really looked. Her eyes were not concerned. They were afraid. Not for me, for herself. The cart rolled away from the beach toward the resort's bright lobby lights. The world moved in strange, slow waves. My stomach churned. But I was alive, awake enough to understand the most important truth of my life. If Evelyn hadn't been there, if that towel girl hadn't spoken up, my family would have rewritten me into a fragile old man and then taken everything I built. At the clinic, they drew blood. They asked questions. A doctor leaned over me, calm. "We're going to run a toxicology screen," he said. "We'll also document any coercion concerns. Do you feel safe returning to your room with your family right now?" "No," I whispered. The word came out stronger than I expected. The doctor nodded once. "Okay." Security stayed outside my room. Not my family. My room. Mark paced in the lobby. Brittany cried loudly, performing outrage. Jenna tried to speak to staff, to charm them, to explain. But the resort had heard Evelyn's voice through my phone. They had heard the towel girl's statement. They had seen Mark's face crack. And Hawaii does not like messy guests, especially when the mess smells like a crime. An officer arrived before dawn. Not resort security. Honolulu police. He sat beside my bed, took my statement. I expected my voice to shake. Instead, I heard myself speak like I used to when I ran my shop. Clear, controlled, angry, but precise. Mark tried to come in. The officer stopped him at the door. "You can wait outside," the officer said. Mark's voice rose. "I'm his son." The officer didn't flinch. "Then you can wait outside." When the toxicology results came back later that day, the doctor didn't look surprised. He looked disappointed. "Sedative," he said quietly, "consistent with benzodiazepine exposure." My mouth went dry. That's not something you accidentally drink." "No," he said. "It isn't." I lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft beep of a monitor. A sedative, on Christmas Eve, on a beach. So I would look confused. So I would sign. So I would be taken somewhere, for my safety. For the first time since my wife died, I cried without trying to hide it, because this wasn't just betrayal. It was a decision. My son had decided I was not his father anymore. I was an obstacle. While I was recovering, Evelyn did what she does. She didn't rage. She didn't scream. She moved like a calm storm. She went to my room with security and collected the folder Mark had tried to make me sign. She photographed every page. She asked the resort for camera footage from the lounge meeting. She asked for witness statements from staff. She spoke to the towel girl and told her she had done the right thing. And then she sat beside my bed and held my hand like we had known each other for a lifetime, not just a few quiet years over fences and mailboxes. "You're not crazy," she said simply. "You're not weak, and you're not alone." I swallowed hard. "They're my children." Evelyn's gaze stayed steady. "Then they should have behaved like it." Mark tried to talk to me on Christmas morning. He showed up in my doorway, eyes red, face arranged into regret. "Dad," he said, voice trembling. "This got out of control." I stared at him. Out of control. He took a step in. The officer beside the door shifted subtly. Mark stopped. We worry," Mark said. "You're alone. You don't listen. We needed a plan." "A plan where you drug me," I said. Mark flinched as if I had insulted him. "I didn't drug you." Evelyn stood behind me, arms crossed. "Then how did sedatives get into his system?" she asked. Mark's jaw tightened. "He drinks. He takes pills. Evelyn cut him off. "Not pills you can name? Not pills prescribed to him? You want to keep lying in front of a doctor and a police officer?" Mark's eyes flicked toward the officer, then back to me. "Dad," he said again, softer, "we can fix this. Just tell them it was a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? My blood surged. I wanted to leap out of bed. I wanted to slam my fist into the wall. Instead, I looked at him with the clearest calm I have ever felt. "No," I said. Mark's face hardened. "Dad." "No," I repeated. "You don't get to pull me apart and then ask me to stitch myself back together so you can keep using me." Jenna came next, crying. She sat in a chair across from me, hands clenched, voice shaking. "I didn't know," she said. "Mark didn't tell me it would be like that." I watched her carefully. Because Jenna could lie beautifully. She always had. "You were there," I said. "You told me I was embarrassing you. You put your hands on me on the beach. You told security I was irrational." Her sob caught in her throat. "I was scared," she whispered. "I didn't know what was happening." Evelyn's voice was soft but sharp. "You knew enough to call him unstable." Jenna's eyes flashed, anger breaking through the tears. "Who are you to talk to me like that?" "I'm the person who answered his phone when he was drugged," Evelyn said. "Where were you?" Jenna stood up, chair scraping. "You're turning him against us." Evelyn didn't move. "He didn't need help turning. You did it yourselves." Brittany never came to apologize. She sent a message. A long one. It started with how stressful it was to manage someone like me. It included the phrase elder confusion 3 times. It ended with, "We need access to accounts to pay for the resort bill." Even after everything she tried to collect. That was when the last soft part in me hardened completely. I spent Christmas in Hawaii not with my family, but with Evelyn. We didn't do anything grand. We sat on a quiet balcony overlooking the ocean, the air warm, the sky pink. We ate room service pancakes because the resort insisted, suddenly generous now that police were involved. We watched boats move like toys across the water. Evelyn held my hand once when my voice shook. "You're going to go home," she said, "and you're going to take your life back." "And they'll hate me," I said. Evelyn's eyes stayed on the ocean. "They already hate the part of you they can't control." On December 26th, after the reports were filed and the statements taken, Mark and his family were told to leave the resort. Not by me, by management. They had become a liability. The resort didn't care about our family dynamics. It cared about legal risk. It cared about its image. Mark called me as they were being escorted out. His voice wasn't sweet anymore. "You're doing this," he hissed. "You're ruining us." I held the phone away from my ear for a second, listening to his anger like it belonged to someone else. Then I said quietly, "You did this." And I ended the call. Evelyn and I flew home the next day. In the airport, Caleb hugged me tightly. His arms were strong for a 13-year-old. "I'm sorry, Grandpa," he whispered. I closed my eyes. "You didn't do anything." He pulled back, eyes wet but steady. "I saw Dad put something in your drink." My breath stopped. "You did," I said softly. Caleb nodded once. I didn't know what it was, but I saw it. And I hate him for it. I swallowed hard because that was the real cost. Not my money, not my pride. The way my son's choices would rot his own child from the inside. I cupped Caleb's cheek gently. "Listen to me. Your father made his choices. You don't have to carry them." He nodded, but his eyes looked older than 13. Mia hugged my waist. Noah clung to my leg. Brittany watched from a distance, face tight, already planning her next move. Back home, the cold air hit us like reality. My house looked the same. Quiet, ordinary, but something felt different now, because I knew what it truly was. Not a home to my children, a vault. Mark had a key. Of course he did. I had given it years ago, back when trust felt natural. That night, I changed every lock. The next morning, I went to my bank in person. Not online, not through Mark. In person. I placed holds. I changed access. I froze any power of attorney attempts preemptively. I added a note to my accounts. No changes without my presence and verification. It wasn't dramatic. It was practical. And it felt like breathing after being underwater. Then I went to my lawyer. Not Mark's Pacific Legacy notary. My lawyer. The one my wife trusted. The one who remembered me as a man, not a checkbook. I updated my will. I created a trust for the grandchildren that Mark and Brittany could not touch. And I did one more thing. I changed my beneficiaries on everything else. Because if my children wanted a payout, they were going to have to become human again first. Mark came to my house 3 days after we got back. He stood on my porch like he still belonged there. He knocked, hard. When I didn't answer, he banged again, shouting my name. Evelyn stood beside me in my living room, calm as stone. "You don't have to open it," she said. "I know," I replied. But I did. I opened the door and stepped onto the porch, letting the cold air sting my face. Behind me, the chain was latched. Mark's eyes swept over the new locks. His face shifted into fury. "You locked me out," he said, like he was accusing me of theft. "I changed my locks," I replied. "It's my house." "You're sick," he snapped. "You're being manipulated by that woman." Evelyn stepped into view behind me. Mark's eyes flashed. "This is your fault." Evelyn's voice stayed even. "No, this is the consequence of yours." Mark stepped closer, pointing a finger at me. "You're throwing away your family over a misunderstanding." I stared at him. "You drugged me." Mark's eyes narrowed, rage bubbling. "You can't prove—" "Yes, I can," I said. He froze. Because he knew. He knew about the reports, the results, the witness, the recordings Evelyn had secured. He knew he had stepped too far. His voice dropped, venomous. "You think you can survive alone. You're old. You'll need us." I looked at him for a long moment. Then I said the truth that hurt the most. "I needed you already," I said quietly. "And you chose to treat that like weakness." Mark's jaw clenched. "Dad." "No," I said. "Not Dad. Not anymore. You don't get that word while you're trying to steal my life." Mark's eyes flicked past me into my home, searching for something. A safe. A file cabinet. An opening. Then he made one last attempt, voice suddenly soft again, the old manipulation. "Just help me this one time," he pleaded. "I'm in trouble. I need money. I can pay you back. I just need—" I felt something in me settle. Not anger, not grief. Peace. "You'll be fine," I said. "You're good at finding ways to survive. You found one on that beach." His face twisted. Then he spat, "Fine." He turned and walked down my steps, shoulders tight, and slammed his car door so hard the sound echoed down the street. Jenna tried next. She sent long messages about love, about family, about how hard life was. Then, when I didn't respond, she sent a short one. "So what? You're just cutting us off now?" I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed one sentence. "I'm protecting myself now." And I turned my phone off. The shocking part wasn't that they got angry. The shocking part was how quickly they stopped pretending to care once they realized the money was gone. No apology, no accountability, no shame, just rage that their plan failed. In January, a letter arrived from an attorney. Not my attorney, theirs. It claimed I was being unduly influenced. It suggested I was mentally compromised. It asked for review of my finances. Evelyn read it once, then slid it back across my kitchen table. "They're still trying," she said. I let out a breath that sounded like a laugh but wasn't. "Of course they are." Evelyn looked at me. "Do you want to fight, or do you want to end this?" "I want it to end," I said. Evelyn nodded. "Then we do what they never expected. We make everything boring." She helped me do exactly that. I put my assets in a structure that made them difficult to touch quickly. I documented everything. I kept communication in writing. I didn't rage. I didn't post. I didn't scream. I just became unavailable. And because there was no drama to feed on, because there was no easy door to kick in, their energy burned out faster than I expected. By March, Mark stopped calling. By April, Jenna stopped texting. By May, the only contact I had was a short message from Caleb. It came late at night. "Grandpa, are you okay?" I stared at that message for a long time, my throat tight. Then I typed back, "I'm okay. I'm here. And I'm proud of you." A minute later, he replied, "I miss you." I felt my eyes sting. I typed one more sentence. "You can come over any time. You don't need permission." After that, Caleb started coming by on his bike sometimes. Quiet visits. He'd sit in my garage while I worked on small repairs, just like Mark used to when he was little. Sometimes Mia came too, chattering, bringing drawings. Sometimes Noah came, running around like a small hurricane. They didn't talk about their parents much, and I didn't force it. I just made my home a place where they could breathe. And Evelyn was always there in the background, not as a replacement mother, not as a savior, just as the steady presence my family had never been. One evening in December, almost a year after Hawaii, Evelyn and I stood in my kitchen making a simple Christmas dinner. Nothing fancy. Roast chicken, potatoes, green beans, a pie. Evelyn insisted she could never get wrong. The house smelled warm. Alive. I watched her move around my kitchen like she belonged there. Not entitled, not demanding, just present. "You regret it?" she asked softly, not looking at me. "What?" I said. "Hawaii," she said. "Cutting them off." I thought of that beach, that slurred voice, Mark's eyes watching me like a lab experiment. I thought of the folder with my name printed on it like I was already dead. I thought of Caleb's whisper in the airport. I saw Dad put something in your drink. "I regret that I didn't see it sooner," I said. Evelyn nodded once, as if that was the only honest answer. We ate dinner quietly. The tree lights glowed in the living room. Outside, cold wind pushed against the windows, but inside, it was warm. Later, when the grandchildren arrived, Caleb first, then Mia and Noah, their cheeks red from the cold, The house filled with sound. Not performance, not obligation. Sound. No one asked me for money. No one pushed papers at me. No one called me unstable. Caleb sat at my table and ate chicken like it was normal. Mia showed Evelyn her drawing. Noah ran toward me and threw himself into my legs like I was a tree he trusted. "Grandpa Ray," he said, voice muffled against my sweater. "I missed you." I put my hand on his back, felt his warmth, and realized something that made my chest ache. Family isn't the people who share your blood and then drain you dry. Family is the people who answer the phone when your voice is slurred and someone is trying to bury you while you are still breathing. My dream Christmas in Hawaii had been stolen by the people who should have protected me. But the year after that, in my small kitchen with Evelyn and my grandchildren, I finally understood what a real holiday feels like. Not expensive, not glamorous, just safe. And for an old man like me, safe is a miracle. Because I learned the truth on that beach. They wanted my money. Evelyn wanted me alive. And now, when Christmas lights glow in my window, everyone on this street knows which kind of person gets the key to my front door.
My grandpa's words really happened. I believe him. If you want more true tales like this, hit subscribe.